Welcome, world, to Life, Love, and Wellness Global, a worldwide wellness movement. I am Reverend Sandy Rogers, and as the creator of this historic event, it is my pleasure to welcome you. We come together to bring you this historic event. We have practitioners, holistic practitioners. We have medical doctors, we have spiritual individuals. This event is so lovingly dedicated to my mother, Mrs. Barbara Dean Brown. And my mother taught me like 40 plus years ago about the importance and the meaning behind herbs. And she would always say, we don't know what they putting in those pills, so you better not, get hooked on prescription drugs. And so we listened to Mom, but not all of us paid attention. My sister, bless her heart, was diagnosed recently thereafter with asthma, and she was prescribed prednisone, which is a very powerful steroid. And my sister actually got hooked on steroids like someone out on the street kind of hooked, like on heroin or crack or something like that. And so my mom and my sister are both on the other side, living in the other dimension, but they're upholding me, and this is dedicated to their memory. So we don't want to come and make you change your mind about what you're doing. We just want to provide information to you, something different, so that you have options to choose from, so that you're not stuck. Because the environment that we now live in, the fast foods, the toxins in the air that we breathe and in the water that we drink, and the processed foods, and all of that is causing havoc on this precious body temple. So God created our bodies to heal themselves, but they can only heal themselves when they're fed and they're nourished and they're stress-free. And so the 60 or so or more experts that we have are bringing you this worldwide wellness movement in an attempt to share their testimonies and their information with you. So we have from age 14 on up. I don't even know what the oldest age is. I think 88 or something. So you see, that's a wide range of knowledge that we're bringing you. And so we hope that you come and that you get all the knowledge that you need to affect a positive change on your life, and share this with others. It's free, it's online, and so we're just so thankful that you decided to be a part of our listening community, the viewing community, and we certainly appreciate you for giving us your time of day and your energy and your efforts to being with us and to being a part of this historic event. We have pulled together people of color for you, by you, right? So we want to make sure that you understand that we too, melanated people with color, can enjoy, practice, and participate in some of these modalities that others have been doing for centuries, and that is pretty new to our community. So we talk about Qigong, we talk about meditation, yoga, spiritual work from a different perspective than religion. So we talk about the spirituality aspect. We talk about abuse in the families. We talk about all kinds of subjects because we know that in our communities there are layers and layers and layers and layers of stuff that we never talk about that's causing a negative effect on our bodies and its healing process. So we address it, whatever it is, and we hope that you will benefit from the many experts that we have, and that you walk away with lots of knowledge and lots of new information, and that you become fully empowered to share information with others. So thank you for being with us. We love you and we bless you, and we look forward to doing this again. But thanks for being here with the first one. We appreciate you.
Love and wellness. Life, love and wellness.
I am the proprietor of Paper Plane Yoga Studio here in College Park, historic College Park in Atlanta. I also have the Atlanta Multisport Magazine, which is a magazine for triathletes, runners. It's a health and wellness magazine. This studio is also an art gallery, so I also broker art in Atlanta. We have various art shows here, so I do a multitude of different things here at the studio and outside of the studio as well. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Tell us about your journey. How did you get here?
I used to be an executive in human resources. I did that for some 30 years, and I would say for the first part of my career up until my 40s, I lived a quite healthy lifestyle, and then in my 40s, travel, life, I really got out of health and wellness. I wasn't very active. Lived a life which was, consumed by just eating whatever I wanted to eat, drinking, so on and so forth, and gained a lot of weight. I think I ballooned up to a little over 250, 280 pounds. And wife always had gym memberships and always wanted me to go to the gym, and just was not interested. Even though I was very active as in my 20s and even in my 30s, just did not seem to be motivated to go to the gym in my 40s. And fast forward, I started to go to the gym. Didn't necessarily have health issues, but was borderline hypertension. And the doctor just said, hey, listen, all you have to do is just stop some of the things that you were doing and do a little bit of exercise and eat better, and it would prevent you from going into that next phase of your life where you're going to be unhealthy. So I still didn't listen until I got a phone call one day from my brother, and my brother shared with me that he had some visions about me not living a healthy life, and challenged me, just say, hey, listen, you can do whatever you wanted to do. You have the gift of gab. You can, you've always been able to mobilize people and get people excited about whatever you were doing. And you could run for mayor, you could run for whatever. But if you continue to do the things you were doing, you're probably going to live a very short life. And at that time, I stopped doing a lot of the things that I was doing. I stopped drinking, I stopped smoking cigarettes, which I actually started smoking cigarettes at the age of 30. I wouldn't even smoke a cigarette. So, but that's another Jerry Springer show. So I stopped doing a lot of those things, started going to the gym, and the rest is really history. I started picking up running, and then started picking up triathlon. My first marathon, 26.2 miles nonstop, was in Madrid. And I just, went to Madrid, did the marathon there, did Paris Marathon, did Philly Marathon, did Chicago Marathon, I wanted to do a marathon every month. And that was, was unrealistic given my schedule, but I came damn near close to it. After the marathons abroad as well as marathons here, I also did New York Marathon, which, thinking back now, when I was living back north, never thought that I would do a New York Marathon. I thought people that ran marathons were crazy. I often loved the way runners looked. I loved their body type and the way they looked, but never thought that I would run a New York Marathon until I did. And so I think running the 5 boroughs of New York really also just put another layer of the things that you can do. And it's just amazing when you set your mind to it, and you have that belief in the universe, in God, that you can do anything, that those things can come to fruition. And so that's what really propelled me into this journey of helping people with their health and wellness. I was let go off of my corporate job that I had for about 11 years, and they gave me a 2-year severance. So I had 2 years to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And every time I would go to places, whether it be Starbucks or whatever, I would see the same people come in and out of the Starbucks, and I would be there either reading a book or whatever, and I would be dressed in my running apparel. People would ask me, what do you do? Because we see you here every day. I mean, did you hit the lottery or something? I mean, like, how do you make an earning? And when I told them my story, they said, wow, 2 years severance? Wow, I only wish that. And I would ask them, what did they do? And I would probably say about 80% of the people that walked in there were unhappy about what they did. They would go to work every day. They would come in and out of these places, whether it be the cafe on the corner or Starbucks. And I started changing my question. I wouldn't ask them what they did. I would ask them, what's your passion? As soon as you say ask them what their passion was, I got a smile that came on their face. That was much different than, what you did for a living. Because most of them would say, I'm doing this. And I said, well, what the passion versus the job? And like, well, I got that car out there, I got that Mercedes, I got a big house, I got kids, and so, but when they said when they shared with me what their passion was, it was a different dynamic, and I fed on that dynamic and said, do I want to go back to corporate, or do I really want to do something that means that's going to take me to that next stage in my life? I want to help people. I saw that we had, it was an epidemic, it still is an epidemic in our country with people that they eat poorly. We can control our health and wellness if we only adhere to doing the things that we should be doing with our health and wellness. And eating better, exercising, sleeping, reducing stress, and some other things that we can do. And that being said, I started to go back and get certifications in health and wellness. I got running coach certification. I became certified as a yoga instructor. And I started to, with this new role, I started to really embrace not only what I was doing, but listening to other people's stories that were quite similar to my story. And those stories were people who wanted to do some things different, but maybe not knowing how to. But also, I met a lot of awesome people, amazing people that did change their story. They started in one venue where they were not eating healthy and not doing healthy things to going into living a healthier lifestyle. So I know I said a lot. You asked me one question, I kind of extrapolated on that question, but for the most part, that's pretty much what I do and some of the things that led me to this journey that I'm on now.
Well, excellent answers. In the instance with your brother helping you or making the initial suggestion to you that perhaps a different way of life would benefit you more, and, because there's been research, and the diseases that we experience here in the United States are called diseases of affluence, because the corporate lifestyle that you were talking about have a tendency to lead to the overeating, the rich diet in meats and things like that, and the sedentary life, where you're not really moving because you're from one corporate event to another. So that was really a beautiful gift that your brother gave you to bring your mind to that awareness.
I agree, but the underlining thing was, it wasn't actually my brother. It was actually my wife. My wife really was fed up with my lifestyle, and she appealed to my brother to have my brother talk to me. And I only found this out years later. And so that makes, my wife is very special regardless. But she was at her rope's end. We appealed to my brother to help. And so my brother was the voice, but my wife was the person that was behind it. So I give her all the praise in the world because she really was the one that changed my life. And like I said, she's so, how would I say it? I mean, she was, only years later did I find that out. And so she's such a big person, such a noble person, such a humble person, that she just wanted me to change.
Yes.
And not realizing how my selfishness impacted her life and my family's life. And that was a big part of now, reflecting back on that. And so, changing my life, involving her in, my running, and, I would take these trips and bring, her on the trips and my family. My son started to run and do marathons with me as well. And, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that whole experience. And when a person really cares about you and enough to say, look, I don't want, I want to leave you, but this has got to a point where, our relationship, nothing's going to change. And I remember telling my wife I would never stop doing certain things, only to see where I'm at now. And who would even fathom that I would be doing some of the things that I'm doing now? So I give her all praises to her and God. And my brother, absolutely, but yeah.
And you look younger every time I see you.
Well, great, but thank you. I'll take the compliment.
Yes. And so that's why it's important in this webinar that we include men such as yourself, because a lot of times we don't see ourselves when we have the discussion around health and wellness. It's women or it's people of other ethnic backgrounds. And so for you to be here and to be able to share the story, your wife was wise enough to know the avenue that she needed to take, and she had enough love where it wasn't selfish. She was more interested in your well-being than anything else, and so I applaud her on that. And so, but the same type of compassion is with this, in that we can reach our men to tell them that health and being well is a sexy. It's the new sexy.
I agree. It's also more than that too. There's a lot of misnomers about what I do, whether it's yoga, running, and there's also, look at our history. A lot of times people don't realize that we are, in a lot of ways, as people, we have issues. We're broken because of the things in the past, whether it be slavery or whatever, and so we don't trust doctors for good reason. We've been experimented on. We're still being experimented on, even with our food supply now. And so there are a lot of things that make people not do what they're supposed to do with respect to their food. We don't educate ourselves on the food. So many people pick something up on the shelf, from the shelf, and they don't even read what what the contents or ingredients are. A lot of it is tribal knowledge. We eat what our parents ate, what our parents' parents ate. And so there are things that we still have hang-ups on certain things, meat that we're supposed to get, and that's how we get our protein and all this other stuff, which is a fallacy. When you look at a 300-pound gorilla and they're a freaking vegetarian versus, so there are just a lot of things that we have been mistold, misfed, mislabeled, or whatever the case may be. So getting over that alone, it takes someone like yourself, it takes someone like the people I'm sure you'll be interviewing, and say, hey, listen, guys, read. I'm living proof that, the things that I used to do, I don't do anymore, because I started to really care about how I felt and care about what I was putting in my body. And that may sound like a coined phrase, that your body is a temple and all of that stuff, but you really need to, there's so many stories out there with respect to people finding themselves again. I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person where I wanted to age in place where I felt better as I went into an older age, that I still was able to enjoy my children. I have now, both my sons are adults. I have a 30-year-old and a 29-year-old, but I've ran with them. That you can do it, it's just that you have to commit, you have to educate yourself, and really step outside the box. And I know that's a coined phrase, but really do things differently that really will bring about change, and not continue to do the same thing that will bring about the results that you currently have now, which is the disease and the discomfort, the weight gain, the mental fog, and I mean, I can go on and on and on. They're building more drugstores nowadays than they are gyms, and so what you find nowadays is more jails, more drugstores, more unhealthy people, and big pharma getting bigger. And the people in our government, they don't care, because the lobbyists are filling their pockets with money. And if you want to eat poor, fine, because you want to eat poor, then you get on drugs, and you get on drugs, and you continue this vicious cycle. So my goal is to really help break that cycle. So anyone that not only comes through the doors, but even if I go out and do seminars and so on and so forth, my goal is to really bring about, change, and really educate people about what they're doing in their life. Because I'm proof that you can certainly change the way you live, and to bring about a better lifestyle for yourself and for your family as well. It also gives you peace of mind. When I walk into a doctor's office now, before it was, you're borderline hypertension and this, I walk into the doctor's office now, my doctor is saying to me, I gotta get in shape like you. And it's good to know when I walk out of the doctor's office, the two things they want to offer me is a flu shot, which I don't take, or they say, do you need any Viagra, which I don't need. And those are the only things they give me, because everything else, it's like you're not on any medication. So can you imagine, I used to walk in the doctor's office with that question mark saying, okay, how is this going to end? Because you never know if they're going to say, oh, your blood pressure's to the point that we now have to put you on medication. It's a choice, whatever you want to do. And some people say, hey, listen, I'd rather get the medication and not get on a treadmill or whatever. That's my life. And you know what? If that's for you, continue to take your medication. Eventually, yeah, we're all going to die, but it's like how you feel.
Exactly.
Are you going to have kidney issues and having to go through dialysis? Because the medicine will eventually kill you. There's side effects. Take this, and it's for sinuses, but this is going to happen, and this and this and this. Take this for blood pressure, but eventually your kidneys and all of the other stuff is going to. So, to me, the choice is pretty clear. You gotta make sure that your diet is correct. So I became a vegan, not because it was the thing to do, but I'm doing it not only because, what we're putting in our bodies, not the same meat that my parents grew up on. It's so full of chemicals, and literally meat products nowadays are giving people cancer. People don't realize it. It's giving our community hypertension. They think it's the sugar and all this other stuff. It's the meat. Just look at some of the studies that are being put out. Harvard medical studies. A lot of these studies say, listen, guys, we cook the meat on the grill. It's carcinogenic. We're getting it, and colon cancer. All of these things. And so that's another Jerry Springer show. Put that on the side. The bottom line is,
excellent point.
No,
Go
but
ahead.
the bottom line is, if you could be a runner. And I appeal to my runners, my triathletes, but if you're still drinking the dark liquor, you're still eating the meat, you're still living these lifestyles where you're not getting your rest and all of that stuff, and you're not recovering, guess what? You're still going to have these issues because you're dealing with inflammation. If you don't have the mental, you don't have the spiritual, and your eating is not done, you're going to have issues. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have blockages, whatever the case may be. So you got to get them all together. And that, for me, that's the key. That's the one thing that I think a lot of my colleagues still have not, tapped into. They're doing all of the good stuff. We're posting all of the pictures of all of the runs that we're doing, and all that's great. But then you feel like crap afterwards, because you're not, it doesn't come together. And I have people that come to me and say, I'm still missing something. I'm doing all of these runs, but I'm still missing. There's something I'm missing. Yeah, you don't have the mental, you don't have the spiritual down. And you have to have all of the, you got the physical, but you don't have the other stuff. In one word, eat green. In one word, just eat green. When you look at your plate, if you have more starch and more meat on your plate than you have green, then that's a problem. Every study that comes out will tell you to eat green. I don't know what else you can say about just eating green. drinking water. So there's also other reasons why I don't eat meat. And one of the reasons because people don't realize that meat or animals have feelings. And people don't realize that you're eating pain. You're eating grief. You're eating anxiety. And there's a lot of people that's walking out here and they got anxiety. They got grief. And they don't understand why do I feel so depressed? Why do I this and that? We don't eat the same, and I say this, we don't eat the same meat that our parents did. Before, we didn't kill as many mass produce and kill as many animals as we do. Even when you look at indigenous people, they ask that thing that they're getting ready to kill permission. There's a ritual with it before they even kill. We don't do that. We kill with no compassion.